Hello students, I welcome you all to the part 9 of unit 2, the end of bipolarity of class 12 political science. Okay, so today we will discuss basically democratization in CIS, that is Commonwealth Independent States. Then the next topic will be democratization in Arab world and Arab Spring. Okay, so about these two topics we'll basically deal in today's class. So students, as we all know that we have been discussing about the Middle East crisis, and within which we have learned about Gulf War and the Afghanistan crisis as well. Okay, so talking about the Gulf War, in the last class I have talked about two different Gulf War which were fought in 1990 and 2003 respectively. Okay, so in first Gulf War, Iraq and the United Nations force joined by 34 nation states was fought in Persian Gulf basically. And in the second Gulf War we found that America and America's led coalition of willing was joined by 40 more than near about 40 countries. Okay, so and here America had fought with Iraq again. Okay, now in today's class the first topic will be CIS. So when we talked about just I'd like to take you back in the disintegration of Soviet Union again. Okay, so disintegration took place, as we all know, in the year 1991, right? So after disintegration, the republics, I mean the newly independent states which were earlier part of the Soviet Union, right? So total 15 republics were there, right? So those republics now they wanted to, though they have become independent from each other, but they wanted to have a common platform for themselves. Okay, so that is why they created an organization called Commonwealth of Independent States, and this political organization was intended to give a political space for these newly independent states, that is 15 states. But all the 15 states did not join here in CIS. So which countries, independent countries, were not part of the CIS? Let me show you now. So here is total 15 countries we had. So this is Russia. Wait. So this is Russia. Then this here from start Central Asian countries, I think you know. So these are Turkmenistan here, then Uzbekistan, after that Kyrgyzstan we have, then Tajikistan and Kazakhstan. So these are the 5 Central Asian Republic. Coming to these Caucasian states, here Azerbaijan we have, then Armenia and Georgia. Okay, after that here Ukraine, Moldova and Belarus. Total how many? 5 plus 3 plus 3. Total 11 countries. So here Russia 12, then here we have Lithuania, Latvia and Estonia. Okay, so these 3 are also called Baltic states. Why they are called Baltic states? As you can see here, this is Baltic Sea, and all these 3 countries, all the 3 countries are sharing their land border with the Baltic Sea. So that is why they together called as Baltic states. I hope it is clear to you now. Okay, now I will tell you which countries were not part of the CIS, this political organization. So here, after getting this independence, this nation state were free to join either CIS or either NATO. One organization was there, so it was up to them. Okay, so that is why these 3 Baltic states, they did not join Commonwealth of Independent States. Why? Because they were more Europeanized. Okay, so they found that it was quite good for them to join the NATO or the European bloc. Okay, so that is why they have not joined the CIS. Coming to the next, here Belarus have joined. Okay, so this country have joined, but Ukraine did not join the CIS. Okay, so here this one, and then Moldova had also joined. Then coming to here, Georgia was there the part of the CIS, but eventually it also had withdrawn its membership, okay, from Commonwealth of Independent States, and now at present Georgia also is not the member. So Armenia and Azerbaijan are there. Okay, so here also uh, Kazakhstan is there, the member. Russia, we all know Russia is the member of CIS. Then Uzbekistan is there, Turkmenistan also is there, then Kyrgyzstan also is there, but Tajikistan is not part of the CIS. So total, how many countries are not part of the CIS? Then Tajikistan, Georgia at present, 2, Ukraine 3, then these 3 countries, Baltic states. Total 6 countries are not part of the uh, CIS. So out of 15, if 6 countries are not part of this organization, then remaining 9 countries only are exactly member of CIS. I think it is clear. Now, our main concern is democratization in CIS. See, students, I think you remember we have already discussed about the shock therapy. Shock therapy was actually the process through which already we learned there. It was the process through which we wanted to transform the authoritarian system to democratic system. So these all the 15 countries were actually having the authoritarian type of government, all the 15 countries. Okay, now they wanted to transform their system into a democratic system. So here in these CIS countries or the Commonwealth independent states, okay, so how the democratic process or transition took place, that was already we have discussed in details in the topic shock therapy. Okay, so I think you remember that. So that is why I told in the live class also that CIS already we have discussed. Okay, so just you have to remember that how the democratization process was started and how this democratization process also had led some negative effects or outcome in the Commonwealth of Independent States. Moving to the next topic, that is Arab Spring. So when we talk about Arab Spring, first of all we have to know the Arab world. Okay, so what is the Arab world? See, many a time the people used to have the confusion that Arab consists only of this Arabian Peninsula, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Oman, Bahrain. These countries only are the part of uh, Arab world. Okay, but this is a limit or narrow concept of the Arab world. Arab world consists also the North African countries. So this is Africa continent here. Okay, I think you are understanding my this topic. So here the North African countries also part of the Arab world. Why they are called Arab world? Because most of these countries are the Muslim dominated countries. Predominantly they follow the Islam religion. Okay, so that is why they share a common commonality within themselves. Okay, now this Arab Spring. Now let me tell you what spring is. Spring means what? Spring means a new beginning, okay, or new awakening, we can say, right? So with the arrival of spring, like I think like we have a season called spring, right? So with the arrival of spring, what will have what we experience in our nature, like something new, right? So it's spring means a kind of awakening. Okay, so here Arab Spring or Arab Awakening started in 21st century, especially from 2010. Okay, so see, in the world where already most of the countries have adopted the democratic model of government. Okay, so these Arabian countries are still left out with the non-democratic model of political system, right? So that is why people of these countries too wanted to have a kind of democratic system. So that is why they have started demonstrating and protesting, or different agitations also were taking place in different part of the Arab world. Okay, so this is actually called Arab Spring. Now let us discuss these things point wise, okay, one by one. First point is saying the 21st century witnessed emergence of new developments for democracies and democratization in West Asian countries. So West Asian countries actually are the countries which also called which are also called Middle East. Okay, basically here these Arabian countries like Saudi Arabia and Iraq and all those countries already we have discussed in the Middle East map. Okay, but we do not consider here these countries as the Middle East, but Egypt is part of the Middle East we have found there. Okay, and Middle East, when I was talking about the Middle East concept or the map of the Middle East itself is a very confusing one for the readers. Okay, so that is why we'll have to understand this in that manner only. Right now, coming to the point again, see this democratic movement or democratization process have started in 21st century, and it began in 2008. Okay, mostly in West Asian countries. Right now, located in Tunisia, the Arab Spring took its roots where the struggle against corruption, unemployment and poverty. So I'm highlighting here few words you have to remember. So where the country Tunisia is located, you can see in the North Africa. So this is a country called Tunisia, so you can see here. Okay, so this Arab Springs root we can trace in the land of Tunisia. Okay, so what happened in Tunisia? Agitation means protest. Okay, protest started in Tunisia by the people. Why the protest was started? Protest was started against the corruption, unemployment and poverty. The autocratic government that was prevailing in Tunisia was not giving the kind of democratic rights to the people. So people were fed up with the existing system. So that is why they wanted to replace replace this system by a democratic model. Right, so it had started in Tunisia, and later this movement, okay, was had inspired the countries of other part of the Arab world also. So you can see here the demand for democracy that started in Tunisia spread throughout the Muslim dominated Arab countries. So all the Muslim dominated Arab countries also this was sparked, we can say. Okay, now you see here Hosni Mubarak here, the country Egypt. This is Egypt. Okay, so Hosni Mubarak was the leader, the president of Egypt. Okay, and he was in power from 1979. And due to this movement, which was occurred in Egypt, right, he also had to surrender before, and his government was collapsed. Okay, so that is a kind of momentum that we can see in the Arab Spring. People started demonstrating, and one of the most important or the unique thing that we find in Arab Spring is the use of social media and the role of social media that had played. Because previously whatever movement or struggle took place, even in India's case, if we talk about, social media was not so strong, okay, or not vibrant, right? But in 21st century, at around in 2010, okay, so since it is started, right, meanwhile social media was very vibrant in the world, right? So that is where the informations were spread very fast. I hope it is clear now. Okay, now this Hosni Mubarak of Egypt was also his government also was collapsed due to the massive democratic protest. In addition, the influence of Arab Spring could also be seen in Yemen. So I will show you the country Yemen here. This is Yemen. Then Bahrain. Bahrain is here. Okay. Then what is there? Libya. Libya is here. Then Syria. Syria you can see here. Then with similar protest by the people. So here some of the examples given. Okay, but it is not like in other countries also it is not started, influenced by the Arab Spring. Yes, it was there even in here you can see Morocco. Okay, then this is Sudan is there, Saudi Arabia is there, okay, Oman is there. So in most of the countries, whatever countries are being colored here, okay, almost all the countries were influenced by this Arab Spring. Okay, and Arab Spring is nothing, it's a awakening or struggle against the existing system. Okay, existing system was the non-democratic system, and they wanted to bring or restore the or replace this non-democratic system by a democratic model. So this is what the Arab Spring actually. Okay, I hope it is clear to all of you. Okay, so if you have any doubt, then you may ask in the live classes. So this can be these are the images which are of this spring or the Arab Spring or the Arab movement. Okay, for the movement, sorry, for democracies. Okay, so this pictures clearly show that how strongly the people are protesting, like or agitating against the government, right? So this is, and this much for today's class. And if you have understood well, then it's good. Then if you not, then okay, bring your doubt in the next class. Thank you.